Alright, so today's session we've all decided to get together and have a bit of a chat about perfectionism.
Yeah.
What it is, why some of us experience it, why some of us don't experience it, and sort of how it links into our anxieties and maybe even into persistent pain or chronic pain for some people. So to kick us off, does anyone have any examples of perfectionism that they can talk about?
Could we actually ask the group, sorry for putting you all on the spot, who here is a perfectionist?
I think I am.
You're half and half?
Yeah, some ways.
Who here is not a perfectionist? Me.
A lucky one.
Good diversity.
It's good to have diversity.
Yeah.
I'll start off with a really good example because for me it was, I didn't realise it at the time, but looking back now, 30 years ago, it was an indication of my dad's ADHD, which good enough is close enough.
Yeah.
So my father-in-law at the time was a boilermaker welder and a perfectionist extraordinaire. He would have made a brilliant surgeon. Like there would have been no mistakes, there would have been no infections, it would have just been just spectacular. But as a boilermaker welder, putting up yards in the paddocks for our horses at Kapunda, he would send me off to cut a 4 metre pole of metal using a cross-cut saw. So I'd do it and I'd take it to him and he'd put it up and he'd say, "Oh, you just need a couple of millimetres off, dear." And I'd be like, "Are you kidding?" And I'd be like, "No problem, Les." So I'd trundle back to the shed across 100 acres. I'd be like, "But what if I cut 3 millimetres off?" So I'd grind a bit off and then I'd go, "I think that's 2. I'd trundle it out there and he goes, "That was 1. You need 1 more." So I'd trundle back, petrified that I'd cut too much off. And by the time we got there, my ex-husband and my dad, who were the epitome of non-perfectionists, would be like, "Just bash it in with a sledgehammer." You know, so we've got one that's down to the millimetre of 4 metres out in the paddock, and we've got the others who just want to bash it in with a hammer. And for me, that was sometimes perfectionism, like if you are operating on a brain, is super important. But when you are bashing a 4 metre bit of metal to build a horse yard, no one's assessing you. The horses don't care. You've gone too far and you're starting to cost money and time.
Right.
So to me, sometimes there are things that require perfectionism and where I want to go where someone's a perfectionist, and there's things where good enough is absolutely close enough.
Right.
And you will not be able to tell the difference between 80% and 100.
Yeah.
So it's a question of picking your battles, because if everything in your life has to be perfect, then you'll never get anything done.
That's right.
And if that's always your standard, the nature of the world is not perfect. So you'll always be falling short of your own standards there.
And that would be exhausting.
It would be absolutely
To
exhausting.
constantly be striving for 100%. And sometimes the idea, did both ways get to the same outcome by bashing versus by making it extremely perfect?
Yeah.
Yep. Fabulous. Did anybody notice?
No.
No?
Horses did put a complaint in.
Yes, they would.
They were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one rated it 5 stars.
No, okay.
It's a horse shed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, can you guys that are the perfectionists
Yeah.
think of a situation where you weren't perfect because you realised it didn't require it?
I think that one of the best antidotes for perfectionism for me was situations where it wasn't up to me. So I spent a fair bit of time in the hospo industry as like a kitchen hand, as a line cook. So if it's me and I'm cooking on my own, then if I'm slicing an onion, you best believe they'll all be around
within a millimetre.
within a decent margin of error. Yeah, but if you've got 80 onions to cook and 80 onions to cut half an hour to do it, then you don't really have a choice, right? It's a case of the thing that you have done is just the thing that you have done. There's no going back, there's no redoing it. It's sort of just accepting that that's the level that you're at and that's the level that's required.
Did you go home at night and think about those imperfect onions?
No.
Good.
I did not. So maybe I'm not a true perfectionist, right? Maybe I'm letting our people down. But
Did anyone go, "I'm not paying for this meal"? The onions weren't you know.
Everyone, including head chef, was
Well,
absolutely fine with it.
Excellent.
There was no downside. So I suppose maybe that sort of, not to speak too much about my family on this one, but maybe that explains some of the differences between me and my brother, for example. I worked in hospitality. I've ended up sort of here. He never had the hospo job. He's a mechanical engineer, and his perfectionism is, of course, a big part of his job, right? It's very detail-oriented. You can't screw up something in that industry without some kind of consequence.
Yeah,
so the
without $1 million
really matters there.
consequences often.
Absolutely. So without that sort of constant and ongoing feedback in an environment where not being perfect was okay and actually reinforced, because people just want you to hurry up and chop the onions, or just throw the bloody schnitzel in the fryer. Stop making sure there's crumbs covering every single square millimetre. If you don't sort of train yourself and go through that constant feedback and reinforcement, you might not sort of learn that pattern of behaviour. Not to say that my brother's maladapted. He's an incredibly intelligent man.
And it works for him in his job.
And it works for him in his job, exactly.
I
prefer my engineers to be a perfectionist.
Yes. When you're going over a bridge, you don't want someone that goes, just bash it in with a hammer.
Good enough.
Good enough.
We don't need a bit of rebar there, do we?
No.
I think it resonates in the fact that context matters.
Absolutely.
Because I used to be a dancer, and that can sometimes be a lovely breeding ground for perfectionism. And so I was always somebody who was very hyper-focused on all the things that went wrong in whatever dance rehearsal, even if it was just in class. And that would be the defining feature of my night, would be all the things that I had seen to not be perfect. And then immediately realising in talking to everybody else that A, they didn't notice and it didn't actually have the biggest impact ever, or B, they did notice and it didn't matter because I wasn't in, professional ballet dancing where that is the requirement to be this perfect, example of a ballerina. It was, honestly, it was church dancing. So it was like the furthest away from anything that needed to be perfect. And the idea of what I had decided was the expectation versus the context and everybody else's expectations of what they were requiring were very different. And so I've actually learnt that it's important when my own mind tends to lean towards the perfectionist side that I'm probably not my best judge, and other people are a lot more helpful in the feedback loop to almost realign my understanding of what good looks like versus what perfect, exceptional looks like.
Starting again. One of the things that I tell clients who are perfectionist, I love the use of metaphor in therapy. So I would say, do you think the stamps or the coins that have a mistake are worth more than the others? And they'll go, that's true. They're always worth a lot more, aren't they? And I'll go, absolutely. Perfect is common. Imperfect is expensive. Maybe you can be one of those expensive coins.
Yeah, it's good money.
It's very good money.
There's an Instagram I watch where you get a lot of money
I've seen that.
Imperfect things.
Yeah, and I find with clients dealing with pain as well, their standard often tends to be where I was at the best point in my life, which there's nothing wrong with having that as a goal, but I think what happens is it often feeds into this mindset that it's already difficult to get up and do things, but if I can't do them the way I did them to the same extent or for as long as I did it, it's not worth doing. And ultimately doing those things is always going to be so beneficial, but it's all about that goal setting and expectations, and I'm not there yet, but now this is what I can do. Tomorrow I can do that. The day after, the week after, and that's what you're working towards. But that idea of who I was, and it comes with that, I've changed. It's not a difference in, this is good and this is bad. It's I'm different now and this is what I can do and this is what I'm working towards. So I think it takes a lot of different forms for different people and what their
But I can
measures
imagine
are.
it stalls sometimes the working through the pain and being able to work past that when you are so focused on perfect and a perfect version of what this needs to look like, and then constantly feeling like you cannot reach that, or that is out of reach, and so why bother trying?
Right.
It is hard because you're right, and if we use the cooking stuff again, you'll get clients who love cooking who say, no, I don't want to cook because I can't stand and chop and I can't cut my onions perfectly. You know, and I go, well, you don't need to. How about we organise a little processor and you just stick them in there and press the button and it does it for you, and they're like, oh yeah, but they don't look right. Okay, but you're going to cook them down, who cares? You're going to see them.
Is that better than nothing?
Is that better than nothing? And in fact, it's just a different way of doing the same thing. I do that. Oh, do you? I go, absolutely. If I'm going to chop more than one onion, I use a little miniature processor. Okay. So I'll go in the session, I'll go, look at this. $67. I reckon we can get your case manager to buy you one of those. How about we try it? And then they go and buy it and they're like, oh, it worked.
That's amazing.
So, look, I agree, and I think it is up to us to challenge people's concept of perfectionist, because one person's concept of perfectionist, like if I look at something and go, that's perfect, Hugh might look at it and go, but it doesn't look right. So everyone's different, really, aren't they?
Not that I'm fussy, but
Yeah, everyone's really, really quite different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I remember one of the best doctors, and I won't say his name, Sanjeev, who is probably one of the better physician doctors in Adelaide. The first time I met him, he had such a great reputation. And so I was looking forward to meet this chap who had such a great reputation, and I walked into the room and this guy came in and sat down, and I was waiting, and I thought, well, when's the doctor? Who's he and when's the doctor coming? And then I realised he was a doctor. And he was wearing clogs, and his shirt and trousers weren't ironed, and they were crunched up, and had this massive handlebar moustache, and he didn't look like the perfect example of a conservative doctor that I would have imagined, 15, 20 years ago. But he was spectacular. And I've never really properly seen him with an ironed shirt. Because to him, that's incidental.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's frou-frou, it's fluff.
Right.
So I think, we need to look at in terms of some things, like you said, Hugh, you need perfectionism. There's no ifs or buts.
Yeah.
I would never want to go to a surgeon who's not perfect,
No.
who drops something on the ground, picks it up and starts cutting you up.
Right.
Can I ask, is there a place for perfectionism in pain management?
No,
No.
that's the answer.
Full
no,
stop.
full stop.
Mhm.
Because we are
Cannot work.
imperfect,
Yeah.
we are human, we are different day to day.
Yeah.
And if we search for perfect, we get people that say things to us, I can only go back to work when my pain's 0. It's
Yeah.
never going to be 0.
Yep.
It wasn't 0 before you got injured.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How's it going to be 0 now? If you're waiting for it to be 0, are you going to be waiting forever?
Yeah.
But you can go back if it's a 3. It's manageable.
Yeah.
It's not perfect.
And that's reframing expectations.
And that's reframing it.
Yeah.
And as they go, they might have periods where it does drop to 0 because their brain's looking at other things, and it's a bit like we're hungry. Not after the pizza, we're not, but we're hungry and we're doing something and we're absorbed, and after a while we're not hungry because we're absorbed, and pain's like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, in pain, clients, the perfectionists will say, I don't think I can go back unless I'm a 0.
Yeah.
Unless I have no pain.
Yeah. And that is impossible.
And that is
That's an impossible goal to
it's
achieve.
impossible.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't achieve it.
Yeah. So it's starting with reframing what an achievable goal is.
Yes, rather than a perfect goal.
Rather than a perfect goal.
So what we say to people, I like the word achievable, but one of the things I say to people, Hannah, is what's doable.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's look at what's doable. Is this doable?
Yeah. It's almost like not what's right and what's wrong, it's what's helpful, what's
Yeah.
unhelpful,
Yeah.
what is achievable.
Yeah, what's achievable?
Yeah.
Even on a crappy day, what's doable for you? Let's not pick up here where if the whole world is just right, you can achieve it, because how often do you get to that?
Yeah.
5%?
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
I think that kind of brings up another interesting idea that comes up in pain, which is that if people lose function due to pain and they can't get all of their original function back, it feels like a loss, which is also a perfectionistic way of viewing things, right? It's black or white, it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
It's either I can do all of the things that I used to be able to do to the same extent that I used to be able to do them, or I can't do anything anymore and I'm now incapable. So it's another instance of sort of letting perfect be the enemy of good.
And I agree with both of you that within the pain arena, that comes up for people that aren't even perfect.
Right.
People that aren't perfectionists.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've encountered it. I've encountered it a squillion times, where you're going through the initial history and you're talking about, so do you drive? Can you walk? What has social life been affected? What about your sports? And you get people that go, yep, can't play footy anymore. I go, really? I'm really impressed. And they go, what at? I go, you're 58, you were still playing footy. They go, nah, I stopped when I was 16.
But I definitely can't do it now.
Yeah.
You're not going to go back to it, are you? Because you stopped at you couldn't play footy before your injury for 40 years. Because in their brain, that was their perfect person that they want to return to. So they're being unrealistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's not doable. What were you doing the week before you got injured? Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you go for a couple of walks a week? That's doable. Not could you play for your local footy club?
No.
Could you ruck for them? No.
Maybe 50 years ago.
Maybe 50 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, perfectionism is fluid.
Yeah.
What's perfect to you is not perfect to me. What's perfect to me is definitely not perfect to you.
You're really making me out to be a real stickler here.
I'm talking about the onions.
Yeah. The onions.
Hugh and I are going to have an onion chop off. I need to go into practice because I could lose a finger because I know he's got it down pat.
Yeah. Bring the manual processor just so you
Absolutely.
can share.
Yeah,
I'll bring my calipers.
Yeah.
The electrical ones.
You'll be
Microns.
sharpening your knife.
No, what would be happening? Hugh would turn up with his best knife sharpened to within an inch of his life. I'll turn up with something really blunt and just hack at things.
And then we'll taste the meals without knowing who.
okay.
No, I'll faint because I've seen you do that, and then there'll be a no contest. So you win.
You'll be like, how can she do that? So, perfectionism, have a think about that.